speaking. And I was born in December 1933 at Horsbury Road, Bristol, to a very poor family. And apparently, I'm told by my father, it was an extremely cold, snowy night, and he had to walk all the way up to the doctor, and I think the midwife then came, and there I was popping out of my mother's tummy. We lived in that flat in Horsbury Road for about 3 years, and I only have the vaguest memories of that time. But one of them is going up to an upstairs room where my Granny Crocker, who lived with us, had her bed, and I was allowed to get into her bed every morning, and she had a cup of tea brought up with a saucer, and she used to pour the tea into the saucer and allow me to sip the tea, milky tea, out of the saucer. And Granny was a great influence on me because my mother was usually out working, as my father was, who was a milkman, and I spent a lot of my early life with her. Another memory of those very early years was that we lived on the middle floor of the house in Horsbury Road, and there was a steep flight of steps up into a small backyard where my father kept chicken. Now in Bristol, you didn't keep chickens, you kept, without a T, you kept chicken. And he, very strangely to me in later life, didn't just keep chickens for eggs and to eat, but he kept Rhode Island Reds and Buff Orpingtons, which were very, very rare breeds of chicken. And people used to come, apparently, from all over Bristol to look at Ivor Perryman's chicken. Anyway, on this one particular occasion, I was walking up in my little short trousers. I believe I had a white shirt on with straps, and I must have been about probably 2 years old, certainly not 3. And as I got up the wooden steps towards the backyard, I looked down, and there were 3 or 4 little brown marbles about the size of Maltesers coming down my right trouser leg onto the floor. Seconds later, I was picked up and taken out into the backyard, and no one seemed to go on to me. And I realised in later life what it must have been, but round about 1940, before the Triangle Cinema burnt down, Uncle George and the whole family went to the cinema, and he bought a packet of something called Maltesers. And I'd not seen Maltesers before. They were in a nice little packet, and he offered me a couple of these as I was walking into the cinema, and they were quite astonished why a little boy should say no to chocolate. To chocolate. Another part of that I remember about Horsbury Road flat was that it was on a very steep hill, very steep indeed. It's so steep that the bottom part of it terminated in a series of steps. And on the left-hand side going down, opposite our flat, was a very high stone wall, rather forbidding. And it had great big wooden gates with iron handles on its side. Now, I was told that was the approved school. What was the approved? That was where naughty boys go. I didn't want to be a naughty boy, and I didn't want to go to an approved school. At the bottom of the hill was the Bristol Royal Infirmary, a huge place, and I, apparently from a very early age, suffered from eczema and dermatitis, and I remember being taken down just a few yards into the casualty department long before health service. And would be seen by a very nice nurse who used to give my mother a little pot of something called grey ointment. Now, grey ointment, smoothed onto my hands with some bits of old rag tied around, seemed to work miracles on getting rid of the eczema and dermatitis. Now, just before you got to the hospital, on the left-hand side, was a long, narrow road, which we never went along,